Ladies and gentlemen, I do have a Twitch channel. Feel free to stop by if you want a more raw, uncut, and uncensored experience. Link in the description below. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I am your host, Emmett, and as more time passes, the thought of this game shrivels ever so much in the back of my mind and at a rapid pace. So rapid that I forgot to give this series a proper burial. The game you're currently watching is Death's Gambit, a pixelated, side-scrolling Souls-like game developed by White Rabbit and published by Adult Swim Games. At time of recording this, that is September the 4th, this game is sitting at a 68% mixed review rating on Steam, and while I myself have not peeked into the discussions, instead having to have played 5 hours of the game, while still being stuck on the same boss, mind you, I feel a responsibility unneeded or needed to deliver my honest opinions about the game. That opinion being that I've made it past 2 bosses and quit. The reason as to why I quit boiled down to just pure unenjoyment of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, the music is actually pretty appealing and ties well enough with the pixelated graphic style that the developer chose to roll with. Now take both of those elements and tie them together with a story that further reveals itself every time you die. Sprinkle in some nightmarish grotesquerie every now and again and you've got yourself a strong game that should appeal to the masses. That is to say, it should. Where the game falls short, however, is in its controls as well as its stamina system. At this point, I believe it is no secret outside of story that this game is trying its hardest to mimic Dark Souls, albeit with some creative freedoms like weapon abilities and a static character talent tree. The issues that arise from this project trying to mimic From Software's work is that Dark Souls as a series is allowed for full 3D freedom of movement, and that is to say you can walk, run, dodge, and attack in 360 degrees, while Death's Gambit gives you 180 degrees to work with due to its side-scrolling nature. Now, at a stamina bar that's the same size as a fun-sized Snickers bar, and player actions outside of running or sprinting cause it to immediately disappear in an instant. This in of itself is a major flaw to have a game so heavily dependent on what is essentially a play the game bar that you are under duress to spend every available point you have to level this out first before even bothering to work on any other stats that would increase, say, something like your physical damage or my favorite, health or ability damage. To the game's credit though, from what I've played, if you run out of stamina, your character does not sit hunched over like you would in Dark Souls after exhausting your character's stamina. So White Rabbit did right on that tiny detail, but getting up to that is something of a mess. If the stamina issue wasn't enough at the time to frustrate me, it would have been the issues with actually controlling the player character itself. Again, I'd like to remind you that this is my own account of playing the game. However, when I did play, even as I play now, there is a weird selective delay between button input and player model, which often has caught me out into unpleasant situations where I knew what to do. I inputted the controls to have the character do it, but it would either happen half a second later or not at all. And I feel it unneeded to tell you how important character response time is when it comes to a Dark Souls game where it takes not but a few hits to put you down. Now, taking a moment to don my tinfoil hat, I'd like to declare that I have a feeling that either purposefully or accidentally the developers might have put in a input cap so as to artificially and annoyingly, admittedly, make the game more difficult than it needed to be for those looking for just a fun experience, and the review score is paying the price. Now, with my tinfoil hat removed, I'd like to restate that this game, Death's Gambit, as a spectacle piece is pretty amazing. The pixelated art style, if you're into that, music and story tie in amazingly well together to provide a deep immersive experience, but what's holding back the game is the quickly depleting stamina system in addition to fluky selective character controls that more often than not will get you killed at inopportune times. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. Stay safe, have a good one, and I'm out.